Hi guys, welcome to TechnoUsher. In this video we are going to learn evolution of Linux, how Linux developed, who developed it, and how it evolved as major operating system. Before starting video, like, share, and subscribe TechnoUsher for more and useful educational videos on IT. Let us start the video. The year was 1991. Personal computers were becoming more accessible, but the software running on them was still limited. Most users relied on MS-DOS, a command-line operating system that lacked the flexibility and features of the more powerful Unix systems used in universities and research labs. Linus Torvalds, a computer science student at the University of Helsinki in Finland, was among those who felt frustrated. As a passionate programmer, he wanted a Unix-like system that he could experiment with and use on his own PC. But at the time, commercial Unix systems were expensive and their source code was closed, unavailable for learning or modification. Then came Minix, a small Unix-like operating system developed by Professor Andrew Tannenbaum for educational purposes. It was open and lightweight, but limited in functionality. Still, it gave Linus a glimpse of what was possible. Fueled by curiosity and a desire for greater control, Linus decided to build something better. He began writing his own operating system kernel from scratch. He wasn't trying to change the world, at least not yet. He just wanted to learn and create a system that worked the way he envisioned. What began as a personal project on a modest computer soon grew into something much larger. This kernel, designed to interact with hardware and manage system resources, would become the foundation of an entire operating system, one that millions around the world would eventually use. And so, with quiet determination and an open mind, Linus Torvalds started what would soon be known as Linux, a free, open-source operating system that would challenge the dominance of proprietary software and forever change the landscape of computing, and who knows, a hobby project to become global powerhouse. After building the foundation of his operating system, Linus Torvalds focused on what would become its most critical component, the kernel. This kernel serves as the core of the Linux operating system. It's the bridge between the hardware and the software, managing memory, processes, and devices. Without it, Linux would not exist. Torvalds designed it to be lightweight, efficient, and modular, something that could evolve and adapt over time. But Torvalds didn't keep his work to himself. In a bold and transformative move, he released the Linux kernel under the GNU General Public License, GPL. This meant that anyone, anywhere in the world, could freely download, use, study, and even modify the code. The open-source nature of Linux was revolutionary. It wasn't just software, it was a philosophy. By giving away the code and encouraging collaboration, Linux invited innovation on a global scale. That openness led to the rise of a global community. Developers from every corner of the planet began contributing. They submitted patches, added features, fixed bugs, and built tools around the Linux kernel. Over time, Linux evolved far beyond what any one person could have imagined. It became a living, breathing project, powered by a passionate, worldwide network of contributors. From students and hobbyists to Fortune 500 companies, this community helped Linux become what it is today, a powerful, secure, and flexible operating system used in everything from smartphones and servers to supercomputers and satellites. Very first step for a milestone. It all began in 1991. Linus Torvalds posted a simple message on the internet: "I'm doing a free operating system, just a hobby, won't be big and professional like GNU." What started as a small side project quickly turned into history. On September 17, 1991, the very first version, Linux 0.01, was released. It was raw, limited, and far from polished. But it carried the spark of something revolutionary. Then came 1992, the year that changed everything. The Linux kernel was relicensed under the GNU General Public License. Suddenly, anyone could use, study, modify, and share it freely. This open collaboration led to the creation of the first Linux distributions, making Linux more accessible to curious users around the world. By 1993, the small project had caught fire. What began with one developer now had over 100 contributors from around the globe. The kernel was adapted to the GNU environment, giving it a complete set of tools. This year also introduced two names that still echo today: Slackware, the first popular Linux distribution, and the Debian project, a community-driven effort that would go on to shape the future of open-source software. And then 1994, a milestone year. After years of relentless coding and collaboration, Linux 1.0 was released. For the first time, Linux offered a graphical interface thanks to x86, pulling it out of the command line and into the desktop era. Meanwhile, commercial players entered the scene. RedHat and SUSE both released their first Linux distributions, signaling that Linux was no longer just a hobby. It was becoming a movement. From one student's idea in 1991 to a global collaboration by 1994, the stage was set. Linux had taken its first steps, and the world of technology would never be the same again. By the mid-1990s, Linux was no longer just an experiment. It was beginning to spread its wings. In 1995, developers took Linux beyond the standard PC. It was successfully ported to powerful hardware like DEC Alpha and Sun Spark, proving Linux could run on more than just home machines. The message was clear: this operating system was versatile. Then came 1996, a turning point. Linux version 2.0 was released, introducing symmetric multiprocessing support. For the first time, Linux could harness the power of multiple CPUs at once, making it ready for serious servers and enterprise environments. By 1998, the world had started paying attention. Tech giants like IBM, Compaq, and Oracle publicly announced their support for Linux. At the same time, an essay titled "The Cathedral and the Bazaar" captured the philosophy behind open-source development: transparent, collaborative, and fast-moving. That same year, Netscape released the source code for its browser, bringing the concept of open source into mainstream conversation. Meanwhile, developers worldwide were building the future. KDE, one of the first major Linux desktop environments, began development, bringing a user-friendly interface to the open-source world. Linux even earned a spot on the top 500 supercomputer list, and support for ARM processors was merged into the kernel. In fact, 1998 also saw the birth of the very first Linux-based supercomputer, a sign of just how far the project had come. And then came 1999, a year of acceleration. The GNOME project began, offering another desktop environment option built entirely on free software principles. IBM doubled down, announcing extensive Linux support, cementing corporate confidence in open source, and to crown it all, Linux kernel 2.2 was released, bringing improved networking and scalability for the new Internet era. From 1995 to 1999, Linux transformed from a hobbyist's dream into a force reshaping the technology industry. With enterprise support, desktop environments, and even supercomputers running on Linux, the movement had gained unstoppable momentum. The horizon had expanded, and Linux was ready to take on the world. By the turn of the millennium, Linux was no longer just a project of hobbyists and tech enthusiasts. It was stepping boldly into the mainstream. In 2000, Dell surged ahead, becoming the second largest provider of Linux systems. Suddenly, Linux wasn't just in the labs, it was shipping on machines straight from a major PC manufacturer. The following year, 2001, marked another milestone with the release of Linux kernel version 2.4. With stronger hardware support and better networking, Linux was now more capable of powering servers and desktops alike. But in 2002, Linux began to dominate headlines. The media spotlight turned toward the rivalry between Microsoft and Dell, with Linux positioned at the center of the story. The operating system was no longer a quiet alternative, it was a recognized challenger. By 2003, the release of Linux kernel 2.6 pushed things further. With scalability, advanced features, and enterprise-grade performance, Linux proved it could run everything from personal desktops to massive data centers. The open-source movement was evolving too. In 2004, a split within the x86 project gave birth to the x.org Foundation, which would carry Linux's graphical future forward. 2005 brought even more expansion. The OpenSUSE project launched, opening the door for community-driven development. Meanwhile, OpenOffice.org 2.0 embraced the OASIS open document standards, championing open formats against proprietary lock-in. Then came 2006, a year of surprises. Oracle released its own distribution of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, sparking controversy. At the same time, Novell and Microsoft announced an unlikely cooperation, bridging two worlds once seen as bitter rivals. By 2007, Linux truly arrived on consumer desktops. Dell began selling laptops preloaded with Ubuntu, making it easier than ever for everyday users to experience Linux without touching a command line. And in 2009, Linux's momentum was undeniable. Red Hat's market capitalization matched that of Sun Microsystems, a powerful sign that open-source business models could rival traditional tech giants. From corporate boardrooms to living rooms, Linux has cemented its place in the technology landscape. In less than a decade, it had gone from a niche alternative to a mainstream force, trusted by companies, embraced by developers, and placed into the hands of everyday users worldwide. By the second decade of the 21st century, Linux was no longer the underdog, it was the foundation of modern computing. In 2011, the release of Linux Kernel 3.0 marked a symbolic milestone. 2 decades after its humble beginnings, Linux had matured into a powerful global platform. Just a year later, in 2012, Linux made history in the enterprise. For the first time, Linux server revenue surpassed the rest of the Unix market, cementing its dominance in the data center. Then came 2013, a year that proved Linux wasn't just for servers and supercomputers. With Android, built on the Linux kernel, capturing 75% of the smartphone market, Linux became the unseen engine inside billions of pockets worldwide. In 2014, Linux's reach expanded even further. Ubuntu alone reported over 22 million users, showing how far desktop Linux had come since its early days of Slackware and Debian. The pace of progress didn't slow. In 2015, the release of kernel version 4.0 brought new features, stability, and support for ever-evolving hardware. And then, 2017, a crowning achievement. For the first time, every single one of the top 500 supercomputers in the world ran on Linux. From personal devices to the fastest machines ever built, Linux reigned supreme. The march continued. Kernel 5.0 arrived in 2019, followed by Kernel 6.0 in 2022, showcasing the community's relentless innovation and the kernel's adaptability to new technologies. From a student's side project in 1991 to powering smartphones, desktops, servers, and the most advanced supercomputers on Earth, Linux has become the invisible backbone of modern technology. Today, it doesn't just run computers, it runs the world. In the beginning, Linux was just a kernel, powerful but incomplete. It needed something more, a spirit, tools, vision. That's when GNU stepped in, a collection of utilities, libraries, and tools that turned the Linux kernel into a fully functional operating system. From that fusion, something extraordinary was born, a complete, open, and collaborative ecosystem. That spark ignited a revolution. Today, Linux isn't just running computers, it's powering the world across key domains. For servers, Linux is the invisible backbone of the Internet. Around 96.3% of the top 1 million web servers rely on Linux, an astounding testament to its dominance in web infrastructure. In other words, when you load your favorite website, there's a good chance you're connecting to a server running Linux. Mobile devices. And then there's your smartphone. Chances are it runs Linux too. Android, built atop the Linux kernel, commands about 72% of the global smartphone OS market as of early 2025, depending on the source. That means Linux touches billions of lives every day, not just in data centers, but in the palms of our hands. Embedded systems. Though harder to track precisely, Linux is also deeply entrenched in embedded systems, the unseen technology powering everything from smart appliances to industrial machinery. While specific percentages vary across reports, embedded Linux remains among the leading operating systems in this market, valued in the hundreds of millions of dollars and expected to grow consistently. From the quiet union of a kernel and GNU tools to running the world's web servers, smartphones, and hidden embedded systems, Linux's rise is nothing short of legendary. It's not just an operating system, it's the foundation of modern computing, open, adaptable, unstoppable. You can see Linux desktop market share 2022. It began as a simple experiment, just a student's personal project in 1991, a hobby, a curiosity. No one could have imagined what it would become. That project grew into a global phenomenon, and at its heart was a radical idea: open source. The code was free. Anyone could use it. Anyone could improve it. That spirit of collaboration and community gave Linux its greatest strength. Over the years, Linux reshaped entire industries. It became the backbone of the internet, the foundation of supercomputers, the core of Android smartphones, and the hidden engine of embedded systems all around us. But Linux never stood still. Through countless updates, new kernels, and evolving projects, it has remained a symbol of constant innovation. Developers everywhere continue to adapt it, improve it, and push it into new frontiers. From a hobbyist's dream to powering the world, Linux has transformed technology forever. Its open-source nature has not only kept it alive, it has made it thrive. The legacy of Linux is clear. It isn't just an operating system. It's a movement, a revolution born from collaboration, and a foundation upon which the future of technology continues to rise. And that's the enduring legacy of Linux, a story that began as one student's dream and grew into the backbone of modern technology. If you enjoyed this journey through the history of Linux, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Techno Usher, for more tech stories, tutorials, and insights. Together, let's keep exploring the world of technology, one story at a time.